Hey y'all, it's Samantha. I am back. I am trying to keep on track with recording about every month. And so, since it's been about a month and we're now officially on spring break, it's time for me to give an update as to what I've been crafting this month. So, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. That really helps get my video out there for people to see that have never seen my channel before. I am pretty new at this overall. I don't have a big following, but I'm hoping as time moves on to get a better following. So if you could help me out with that, I would so appreciate it. By the way, my name is Samantha, and I live just outside of Houston, Texas, on the northwest side. And I am a multi craftual person. I knit, I crochet, I cross stitch, I sew. I've just started spinning, and I get involved in a lot of different crafty stuff. It's just kind of who I've always been, and I absolutely adore doing different crafting things. So, without further ado, let's talk about finished objects. And I did have one finished object this month, but I don't have it with me. Um, in fact, I started it on, I think it was February the 2nd. Let me get my iPad and we'll see exactly when I started it. I think in the last episode, in the last podcast, I had started talking about it and showed a little preview. And that is my Lifesaver cardigan. I did start it on February the 2nd and I finished it on February the 21st. The Lifesaver cardigan, which I'm going to put a picture right over here of the cardigan finished, was a gift for my niece. Now, originally, I had meant for this to be done for her birthday, but I got to it kind of late and it took me longer than I thought it would. But I powered through and it came out amazing. She absolutely loved it, and it is probably been worn about 100 times since that point in time. And today is March the 9th. So she's had it now like 2 weeks' time. So a little bit about the cardigan. The cardigan was made out of two different kinds of fingering weight yarn. The black yarn is Stroll from KnitPicks in black. And then the neon colors were all mini skeins from Stellar Needlecraft in her Stellar sock. Unfortunately, Stellar Needlecraft is no longer around. She's decided to close up shop a couple of months ago, so you wouldn't be able to get any for yourself, but it was absolutely wonderful yarn to work with, and I'm really excited. I still have a lot of that yarn left, and so I'm trying to figure out what else I'm going to do for my niece because those colors are like screaming Lisa Frank. And she had a Lisa Frank birthday party. So I'm going to put in a couple of pictures here of the birthday party that she had on, I think it was on February the 5th, might have been the 8th. It was somewhere in there. She's absolutely obsessed with Lisa Frank right now. And so these colors just screamed Lisa Frank. So I want to do something else. I just haven't quite figured out. Maybe a pair of socks with the mini skeins. I don't know. We'll see what comes out of that. But I have more than half of each mini still remaining. And you can see right here, I still have some of the black Stroll still around too. So maybe I could do um, a mini skein sock, like a rainbow, and then have the heel, toes, and cuffs in the black. I don't know. We'll see what comes from it. But she absolutely loved it. I loved working on it. And I especially loved putting on the neon star buttons that coincided with the color from the line that they were at. So what I did is I put buttons every other row. I put it on each other row and I corresponded the color of the neon star button to the row that it was. So it came out super cute. I am so happy with it. It blocked out perfect. It was wonderful. The other finished object I actually showed last podcast. It was completed, it was blocked, but I still needed to weave in the ends and I needed to find some time to get my husband to wear it so I could take some pictures of that. That was the storm sweater. And I'm going to insert a picture right here of my husband modeling his new sweater. He loved it. He got to wear it one day when it was really cold in the Houston area a couple of weeks ago. It hasn't been cold enough since that point in time for him to wear it again, but maybe we'll get one more cold snap here soon. He really, really liked it. It fit perfectly. The sleeve length was perfect for him, which for me, that's been an issue in the past. His last sweater was too big around the midsection. The sleeves were too long. It just was chock full of issues with sizing. And so this time I erred on the side of being smaller and I erred on the side of the sleeves being shorter. That way, in the blocking process, when they did block out longer, it wasn't a problem and it was absolutely perfect for him. It was a perfect fit. So the only thing that he said, if he was to make any changes, is he would probably add like 1 more inch in length to it. And I told him, honestly, if I hadn't messed up the pattern and forgot 1 row of the diamonds, it would have had that. But I ran out of yarn. I didn't have enough yarn for it. So it came out absolutely perfect anyway. And he said, I'm good with the length that it's at. That would be the one thing if I had to change something, I would change. So it was made out of red stag fiber in the Estate DK in the colorway Welsh Slate. And it came out just gorgeous. I love everything. The one thing that has been pointed out by a couple of different people were there were like some flecks of places where the dye didn't take to, and it's a tonal yarn. It's a tonal yarn. It's going to have those little flecks in there, and so it's all a part of the charm of a hand dyed yarn. So it is wonderful, and I love every bit of it. All right, so the next thing we're going to look at is works in progress. And I have 2 works in progress. I started one immediately after I finished the Lifesaver cardigan, and it is one of the items that is on my list of things that I want to accomplish for 2025. For 2025, I have about 9 things. I guess I'm making a make 9. I wouldn't call it that, because I didn't pick them all at once. I've gone through and I've added on and taken things off. But I've got about 9 things that I want that I've tagged on Ravelry as what I'm going to make in 2025. And this is one of those items. It is the Ogee socks. And so I am using DPNs on this, which I haven't been using DPNs in the past. I've gone with Magic Loop. I've even done 9-inch circulars. But for some reason, in the last couple of months, I have been wanting to work with DPNs. So I'm doing the Ogee socks, and I am using my ChowGoo US1 2.25 millimeter size needles, and I am using Autumn and Indigo yarn. I don't even remember the name of the colorway. I could probably look it up, and it's actually probably inside of the skein right here, so I could just look at the label. Let's see if I can pull that out clean. There we go. This is the colorway Heavenly Denise from Autumn and Indigo that is dyed in Spokane, Washington. There's the label. And so it is this really pretty dusty kind of mint color, which is absolutely just beautiful overall. And so the Ogee socks have this really pretty structural design. So when it's pulled out like this, you can see that the structural kind of twists and cables that go on here. and then it becomes a ribbed pattern through the sock. And I am right in the middle of the heel right here. I'll start turning the heel pretty soon, but I'm only on the first one, kind of liking what I'm seeing. But I am paused on this because at my local yarn store, which is Crafty Studios, it's just about a 11-minute drive from here, and I absolutely love that it is so close. We are doing a knit along. Today's March 9th, so we started on March 1st. So we're 9 days into this knit along. And the knit along is based on a tank top pattern. So there is a crochet version. They're doing the white shell tank. And then there's a knitted version, which the knitters are doing the Sailor Swift top by Veronika Lindberg. And so that is what I am working on. I am working on the Sailor Swift top. It is out of Mandarin Petite from Tanis Garn in the colorway black and in the colorway khaki. So here you go. Main color is black and the contrast is the khaki color. And so day 9, I have already done the front panel, the back panel, the straps. I've connected the body, and now we are on Body Island, just going round and round and round till we get to like probably do about 12 inches from the underarm. So here's the underarm and just working my way down. So I've got about, that's probably like 2 to 3 inches that I've done so far. So I absolutely just love this top. I like it's got that kind of razor back appearance to it. So that racer back appearance is there. So it's going to go in a little bit. I just love it. It is going to be a great summer wear out of this cotton yarn. I'm loving it so far. So my hope is that I will get this done by maybe next weekend. I've got spring break off, and I would love to have this completed by the end of spring break. And then maybe then I could do the white shell tank as well. If I'm not mistaken, we've got 6 total weeks to complete one. And so we're just over a week in. I've got 5-ish weeks to go. I think I could probably, if I do each one in like 3 weeks time, I could probably knock out both of those tank tops. But at least one. We're at least going for the Sailor Swift top. So that is that. So we are done talking about whips there. I don't have any other whips that I'm actively working on. I haven't touched any cross stitching in the recent past. I haven't done any spinning. I really have been on just a knitting kick. I have so much mojo for knitting right now. It's not even funny. So, I'm going with what my wants are. I'm just sticking to it. So, speaking of my yarn store, Crafty Studios in Cypress, Texas, a couple weeks ago at Crafty, they had a yarn swap, and so I picked out several skeins of yarn that I loved them when I got them, or I got them as presents, or they came as mystery things. I'll insert a picture here of the yarns that I chose. But what you did is you brought in any yarns that hadn't been used that you were just not in love with anymore, and you'd be okay with giving to someone else. So for every skein that you brought in, you got a ticket, and everybody put all of their yarns on a table together, and then you got to choose for the amount of tickets. You got to choose an equal number of skeins of yarn that were on the table. In the end, there ended up being more skeins left on the table than people had tickets for, because some people were looking and going, I really only want these 3, but I brought in 6. And so there were some skeins left over. and I ended up picking up 1 or 2 extra out of that. So I only picked up stuff that I felt like I could use, things that I was looking at and going, I would actually use that yarn. So here are the things that I picked up. I picked up 2 of the same kind of yarn. This is Irish knitting wool, 100 grams from Galway, from Plymouth. And so here's the label that comes with it. So I was told from the person that brought this in, these were both the same yarns. It's just they did not have the tag for both of them. But as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing they both have the tag. It's just inside. So I got just a plain black wool, and then there's this teal. And so I am thinking some kind of like color work hat to go with this. That's what I'm thinking for this. I don't know what yet, but that's where I'm going with that. I did pick up 2 sock weight yarns. One already caked up. I have no idea what this is. I have no idea what company dyed it. No idea anything about it, but it's pretty. It's a blue and gray mix. And so I am thinking maybe this would make for a great fingerless mitt set. I don't know. Maybe a pair of socks. Who knows? But it's really pretty. I like it. And then I picked up this skein. This is from Alaskan Yarn Company in Homer, Alaska. And this is a 75-25 merino nylon mix. And it is the color Beautiful Dark. So it is says on the back, this sock yarn is a one of a kind and hand painted by Alaskan Yarn Company. The dyes are hand mixed and each individual skein is painted by hand. It'll have natural color variations. So it's got all these grays and blacks and some blues and some purples and pinks. And I felt like this just kind of looked, had it had a little bit of green, I would have said this is like the Alaskan sky with the aurora borealis. And it doesn't have any of those greens, but it's got the blues and the purples and everything. And I just, as soon as I saw it, I had to have it. So it was literally the first thing that I picked up from the table. I was like, I am grabbing that. That is going to be mine. So this one. And then there was a big old skein of alpaca. This is a luxury alpaca from Laine du Nord from Italy. Poema alpaca luxury line. It's 100 grams or 437 yards, 40% alpaca and 40% Lena museling free wool, and 20% nylon. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I haven't even really looked it up, but it looked interesting and like something I don't have. So I figured something new and interesting. It's got this like rusty color, red orange color, and this like magenta and a really muted kind of orangey yellow here. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it looked so cool. I could not pass it up. The last yarn that I picked up from the table was something that I have been wanting a skein of. And there's a local yarn store not that far from me that I still have yet to go to called KnitPicks that specializes in Nordic yarns. And I really want to go buy some yarn. And this might be the entry into getting some more of that yarn because I'm going to need more of this for whatever I decide to make with it. And so I saw a ball of knitting for olive merino. And this is in the colorway cream. It is only 50 grams, so it's only 250 meters. And I really don't know that this is enough really to do much of anything. So I'm probably going to need more of this, which means I probably need to go to KnitPicks. I think that is something that it will be worth it because I can just tell my husband, gotta get more. So that is what I picked up from the yarn swap with Craftique Studios. But it is definitely not the last of my haul for the month of February and into early March. Two other times did I buy a large quantity of yarn. And I also have a rather large acquisition that came from family. My sister in law is a foster mom, and she is in the process of fostering with plans to adopt two little ones. I can't go into the details because of all the legal things, but their caseworker showed up at their house with a crap ton of yarn, and it is all acrylic yarn. But I am in the process of going through to see what I want. But I can already tell that there's at least, I'm looking at the yarn, it is just kind of piled up over on my desk over here. But I've already picked through and picked out like 7 skeins out of like the 30 skeins of yarn that are in there. It looks like it's all acrylic yarn. There is one that's a Lion Brand Pound of Love. There's some yarn called Ice Cream. There's some Simply Soft yarn. And so um, it'll definitely go to good use. Also, as every crafter knows, Joann's is closing. And my husband, being the enabler that he is, we went to Joann's like 2 weeks ago, 2 weekends ago. It might have just been last weekend. I don't know, my time's running together. But my husband basically said, we're just going to go ahead and buy a bunch of stuff because we'll use it. Stuff that we will use that we've been holding off on, that you've been saying, oh, I can make that with this, but I don't need it right now. We're going to go ahead and buy it. And so we filled up this whole tote here full of yarn. So let's look at what all was purchased. So I did buy 2 balls of Patton's Croy Sock FX. It is in this blue-gray colorway. It's called Sidewalk Colors. So I bought 2 of those so that I can make a pair of socks, probably for my husband. It might be for me. We'll see who gets that. But it is like blues and grays, charcoals, kind of off-white color. It's really pretty. So got that. I got a bunch of fisherman's wool in the color oatmeal. And this is going to become probably a book club cardigan. And so I've got the rest of this all up there. And then my husband picked out a skein of yarn. He wants a kind of a cabled cardigan as well. And he wants it in more of an acrylic yarn, something that he could throw in the washer if he wanted to. And he found this Heartland yarn in the colorway Yosemite. It's kind of this heathered burnt orange. And if you know my husband is a Longhorn fan, University of Texas, and their color is burnt orange. And soon as he saw this, he was in love with it. And yeah, he went totally ham on this yarn. He decided he was going to buy Joann's out of this yarn. So he got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 skeins of this yarn. He bought way more yarn than I ever have at Joann's. So the goal is to make him a cardigan out of this and probably make him a matching hat. And I don't know if there will be anything left over because, you know, cabled cardigans, they eat up yarn. So we'll see how far I get on that. But yeah, he bought way more than I did. And I am still not done with my yarn acquisition, you guys, because this past weekend was the Brazos Valley Fiber Fest. It happened March 7th, Friday night, and March 8th in Bryan, Texas, which is about an hour up the road from me. I do know one of the organizers of the event, Lisa, the knitting artist, and my good friend Laura, who is Stellar Needlecraft, like I've talked about before. She closed up her shop. She was going to be vending there, and once she closed up, she decided not to. And so she took some classes. She hung up there on Friday during the day and helped out with Heather from Heathered Handmaids and helped her set up her booth, and then took a class up there. I did not take any classes this time. In fact, I only went up Friday night. My husband and I went up there on Friday night because we wanted to kind of walk around first Friday night in Bryan. For those of you that aren't aware, first Friday night in Bryan, all of the shops in downtown Bryan stay open late. There's a bunch of like street vendors and things like that. There's musicians, there's food trucks, and the Brazos Valley Fiber Fest also was open late that night. And so they didn't charge for entry on from 6 to 9 o'clock that night. My husband and I were able to walk through and visit with a bunch of the vendors. There is one item that I am not showing on here because it is a gift for somebody in the next couple of months. We saw and we are like thinking ahead. So I am not going to show or talk about that item, but I will talk about all of the other things. So the first thing we walked in, we visited with Heather for Heathered Handmaids, and immediately my husband saw a pair of stitch stoppers and he said, "We're getting those for you. Those scream you." And so these stitch stoppers say, "Sorry, my anxiety is saying no." And it's a neon rainbow with a skeleton. And they are just adorable and so cute. And I have been on a stitch marker kick lately. And I loved them so much. We just got them. That was immediately the first buy. The second thing I was looking for, something that I could make with just one skein, and I decided I probably want a hat out of this. And so I picked up a skein of Classic DK from Heathered Handmaids. And this color is Little Old Me. It is 100% superwash merino, 231 yards, 100 grams skein. And I just love the pinks and the turquoise and the purples. And oh, I love it. It is so pretty. I almost grabbed a braid of her fiber in this colorway to spin up, but my husband said before I buy any more fiber, I need to spin up what I already have. And that makes sense. So, little old me. Next up, we went by the Suburban Stitcher. Diane had a booth there, and she had a bunch of her fade colors. And so I found two of the fades that were in sport weight that I really, really, really liked. And I couldn't find a third. I really wanted to have three colors, three skeins just to go together. I'm envisioning some kind of top to go with it. We'll see if anything actually comes out of that. Maybe it becomes a shawl at some point. But here is what I found. The first two that I found were quartz and granite. This is month 10 and month 11 of her fade. This is 328 yards of 100% superwash merino. And then I wanted a third one to go along with it. And I was looking for month 12, which is a lighter version. It kind of went through and it's got a little bit more purple to it. And she didn't have any in the sport weight. So I dug around in her just regular sport weight and found this, which is summer black, to go with it. And it's just a more striking tonal to go with it. So I just loved the three of those together. It makes for the cutest gray fade with a little hint of purple to it. So I don't know what this is going to become, but I love it. I love having this gray here. So it's going to go from that light color to this dark color over here, granite, and I am just ecstatic about that. And then we went over to Lisa, the knitting artist, and my husband was looking at her yarns and he said he wanted something bright for me to make him a hat. So I think this is going to become a muscle burr hat. And he picked out this yellow and orange color. It is just pretty. So this is called Morning Dandelion Moon with these bright yellow colors going into this rusty orange and into this more muted kind of orange over here. And so if you're not aware what Lisa does, she's the knitting artist. She paints various artwork and then she bases her skeins of yarn based upon that specific painting that she made. So for this one, here is the inspiration for the colors in the skein. And so after we picked this out, Lisa was like, oh my gosh, I have a postcard printed out of that specific painting that I'm going to give you so that you have that to go with it. And I'll be honest, I don't know which way is up on it. So we'll just do this. So here's the inspiration and here's the skein that goes with it. So this is Morning Dandelion Moon from the knitting artist. And Lisa was one of the organizers of the event. She lives in the Bryan College Station area. So like I said, they weren't charging an entry fee to get into Brazos Valley on Friday night. Normally the ticket was $10 to get in, and my husband and I were already prepared to pay that because we wanted to support the event so that it can grow in future years, so that they could pay for the venue and all of that. And because they weren't doing that, my husband and I were adamant that we wanted to purchase a tote bag. So this is the tote bag that we purchased for the Brazos Valley Fibre Arts Festival with the cute little alpaca that is on the front here. They did a vote. I don't know that we have the answer to what the alpaca's name is going to be. I'm looking forward to finding out. My favorite was Clover, but we'll see how that goes. And then finally, my last purchase that was made was actually not purchased by me. This was purchased by my husband for me because tomorrow is my birthday. I'll be turning 45. And as we were on our way to purchase the tote bag, there was a vendor that had a booth right there by where the tote bag purchase area was, and she makes various bags. And so her booth was called All with Love. And my husband saw me kind of eyeing a specific large bag. Sorry if you can hear the dogs barking. I don't know what they're barking at, but they are going at it. So I also sew, and one of my favorite fabric companies that I have bought fabric from is Alexander Henry. And I just love Alexander Henry's Ghastly, the Ghastly's line. They are adorable, and they have some of them that deal with craft related things. You see some of the Ghastly people that are knitting or sewing or crocheting, and they had one at this booth. They had a bag that had a Ghastly's print showing knitting. So my husband said, oh, we have to get this for you. So this is the bag that he bought for me for my birthday. And you can see the Ghastly's here. It says, to the rhythm of the needles we cast on and hex, any hindrance to the process that may bother, detain, or vex. And so you've got this little lady right here, one of the Ghastly's. She's knitting there. And then over here on the side pocket on the outside, there's another one that is knitting. And so it's just plain canvas over here. It has a leather bottom to it. And then it's got these webbed straps that go along with the contrast fabric, which is this green and khaki and beige and other colors of green. Um, Looks like granny squares in crochet. And then on the back, it's that same one all through the back. And then all of the pockets on the inside are made out of that granny square pattern. And then it has a beige canvas inside. So it is hardy and stands up, and it is a wonderful bag with a pocket on the outside where that ghastly fabric is, a pocket on the side itself, right here, several pockets all over. I absolutely love it, and it is so well crafted. It went out on its maiden voyage today. My husband took me out today for my birthday, just the two of us. We did a little adventuring. We went to a oddities market that was going on at a brewery, and then we went out to the one of, if not the only casino in Texas, which is on the Indian reservation just to the northeast of us in the Alabama Coushatta area called Neskila. We went and did a little bit of slot machine gambling up there. So it was a lot of fun. So I got to take my bag out on its maiden voyage this weekend, and it fit not only my needles, it fit all of my yarn, my work in progress, it fit my wallet, my iPad, and all of the little accoutrements that you take with you, like your lotion and all of that. It fit everything in that bag, and it handled it like a pro. So I highly recommend, if you're looking for a big knitting type tote bag, that one is wonderful. The only thing that I would add to this is I would add like a zipper or a snap or something to keep it closed. But even with that, even without it, I still love the bag. So it is awesome. So let's talk about what I plan on for the month of March. For the month of March, I plan on finishing my Sailor Swift top. I plan on trying to finish my Ogee socks. I am hoping to cast on the book club cardigan, but I don't know if I'm going to get there. We'll see what happens. But I've got to organize the yarn that I got from the casework, and we're going to be doing a lot of work around the house. I have already started some of it, and so has my husband. We got a pressure washer this weekend, and my husband has already done the front walk and the driveway. This week, we're going to work on the back patio. I've done a lot of planting of things and starting up gardening. So that's it. Thank you for watching. And again, if you haven't, please like and subscribe. That helps get my channel out there. And hopefully I will be back at the beginning of April, if not mid-April, because it seems like I'm kind of hitting this in the middle of the month, but that's okay. I'm enjoying coming here and talking about all the things that I've been getting up to. So until next time, bye.